My sister-in-law, to sell her image as a clueless but beautiful mom, actually made infant formula with cold water for her 1-month-old baby. He had diarrhea for an entire day because of it. All she did was cover her mouth and sigh dramatically. "Oh, Chloe's just too dumb. She didn't know cold water isn't safe for babies." Then, when her son was just 2 months old, she insisted on feeding him an entire boiled egg yolk, claiming it would boost his immune system. He nearly choked to death. I couldn't bear to watch anymore, so I took the baby and started caring for him myself. I was in my 30s, but the constant stress and labor aged me fast. Meanwhile, Chloe lived like a queen. Skincare, designer bags, daily lattes, always calling herself the hottest dumb mom on the internet. Years later, when my nephew got into an Ivy League school, Chloe turned around and accused me of stealing him away from her, claiming he grew up emotionally distant because I robbed him of his parents' love. The worst part? He believed her. One day he locked me in the house and set it on fire. I was burned alive. And Chloe? She rode the fame of being the perfect single mom of an Ivy League son and made a fortune online. The whole family looked picture perfect, living their dream life, without me. Then I woke up. Back to the exact day I took my nephew away. Chloe didn't mean it. I heard her sugary voice again. She just thought egg yolk would help his immune system. The second I heard her voice, goosebumps shot down my spine. I looked around. We were in the hospital hallway. My brother stood beside her, worry written all over his face. Chloe was nestled in his arms, sobbing like a tragic heroine. This scene, it was from my past life. No doubt. I'd been reborn. My brother gently stroked her hair. "It's okay, baby. I know you didn't mean to. You were only thinking about our son. Don't be so hard on yourself. He's fine, right?" When she got pregnant, Chloe suddenly adopted this dumb but pretty persona. She'd constantly whine about being baby-brained, ask my brother whether he loved her or their son more, and if the answer wasn't what she wanted, something accidental would happen to the baby that same day. Every time Mom tried to question Chloe's parenting, she'd deflect. "I didn't mean to. I'm just dumb and don't know how to raise a baby." It wasn't until she nearly killed the baby with that whole egg yolk stunt, he was only 2 months old, that Mom rushed him to the hospital. That's when I stepped in. I took him in and raised him myself. And what did I get in return? 18 years of being the unpaid caregiver. When he finally got into college, Chloe turned around and blamed me for breaking up the family. "If you hadn't taken Michael from me, we'd still be one big happy family. He wouldn't have grown up without parents. But I only raised him until he was 5 before trying to return him." She refused. "I'm too dumb," she'd said. "I'll mess him up. You keep him." So I did. I gave him everything, raised him like he was my own. And my reward? He burned me alive. I was the scapegoat for their perfect family life. The last thing I heard before I died was his voice. Cold, hateful, inhuman. "My mom was too naive. You fooled her. You ruined everything. Die, you bitch." A voice snapped me out of my thoughts. "He's not even 2 months old. No teeth. How the hell is he supposed to eat a whole egg yolk? Are you trying to kill him?" It was Mom, just out of the hospital room, glaring at Chloe. Seeing Mom again, really seeing her, my eyes welled up. In my last life, she never believed my death was an accident. She cried so hard her hair turned white overnight. But when she tried to confront my brother, he shoved her down the stairs. She died of starvation, paralyzed in bed. But not this time. This time, I was going to make them pay. Chloe pouted and whimpered. "I didn't mean to. I was just trying to help his immune system." And right on cue, she burrowed into my brother's arms again. That's all it took to melt him. He puffed up defensively, yelling at Mom. "She said it wasn't on purpose. Why are you still picking on her? You know she can't take care of the baby. Stop bullying her." Mom's eyes turned red. I stepped forward. Chloe sniffled and said, "Don't yell at Mom. She didn't mean to either. It's all my fault. I'm just too dumb. If only someone could help." She glanced at me, loaded with meaning. In my past life, this was the exact moment I caved. I felt bad for the baby. I didn't want more drama between Chloe and Mom, so I volunteered to take care of him. But not this time. Not again. This time, I'd let her perfect dumb mom act run its full course, and see how long her son survived under her care. Chloe realized I wasn't biting. Her eyes flashed with something dark. Then she sweetened her voice again. I really am just a dumb mom. If something happens to the baby again, don't blame me, okay? Was that a threat? Why have a child if you're not going to take care of them? I caught Mom hesitating. She looked like she might offer again. I tugged gently at her sleeve and gave a tiny shake of my head. Not this time. Back when Chloe gave birth, she flat out refused to breastfeed, whining she was too dumb to raise a child. Mom, wanting to help and knowing my brother worked long hours, moved in to take care of the baby. That was her first mistake. Chloe never wanted to be a mom. She wanted a free nanny, and later, a free ticket to internet fame. Well, she wasn't getting either from me again. I smiled sweetly and said, Chloe, everything you're doing is for the baby. Of course we don't blame you. But honestly, Mom's not great with hygiene, and if the baby gets sick again, that wouldn't be good. It's going to be tough, but you've got this. Then I turned to my brother with a playful smirk. You better help her out after work. It's your baby too, you know. He didn't argue. He loved Chloe, sure, but he loved his own comfort more. If he really cared, the baby wouldn't have nearly died multiple times. I knew them now, and I wouldn't be tricked again. Chloe was stunned. She clearly thought I'd take the bait. My brother glared. You're the aunt. You should help out too. Chloe pouted. I can still take care of him. I'm not useless. Don't worry, honey. I had to choke back the urge to gag. She still expected me to offer. To let her off the hook while I did the real work. Not a chance. I sighed dramatically. If even the baby's own mother can't care for him, how could I, an unmarried, childless woman, possibly do better? Then I added, and besides, I just got a new job. I've got deadlines and meetings. Once things settle down, I'll be happy to help out here and there. It was a lie. I'd never lift a finger for that little ingrate again. Chloe forced a smile. Rain, you're so sweet. I'll be waiting. I didn't bother responding. Just grabbed Mom and made an excuse to leave. As I turned back, I saw the flicker of resentment in Chloe's eyes. She wasn't done, not by a long shot, but neither was I. As soon as Michael was discharged from the hospital, I moved Mom out of my brother's place and into my own apartment. Since Chloe clearly didn't want Mom around, there was no reason for Mom to keep suffering under that roof. But less than a week later, Chloe managed to make Michael sick again. When she called, Mom grabbed me and rushed back to the hospital in a panic. Mom was genuinely worried about Michael's health. As for me, I just wanted to see what kind of ridiculous excuse Chloe would come up with this time. We found my brother pacing anxiously outside the pediatric ER, while Chloe stood off to the side, pouting like someone had kicked her puppy. Turns out, their water heater had broken. My brother hadn't gotten around to fixing it. Chloe was too lazy to boil water for Michael's bath, so she just washed him with cold tap water. A 2-month-old baby, bathed in ice-cold water. No wonder he spiked a high fever overnight. When Chloe spotted me, her eyes lit up like she had another scheme brewing. Sure enough, she launched right into her sob story the second I approached. The water heater broke, and it's been so hot lately. I didn't think a cold bath would hurt. I mean, I take cold showers all the time even though I hate them. I just didn't realize babies are so fragile. She sniffled. I swear I didn't mean to. I'm just so dumb. I really don't know how to take care of babies. I studied her face. Her tone was all guilt, but there was no actual fear or regret in her eyes. Michael had a fever so high it could have killed him, and she didn't even seem genuinely concerned. But I didn't care anymore. Not really. If he died, it'd just be karma from the last life. Still, I played along, patting her hand with mock sympathy. Don't blame yourself, Chloe. Nobody's born knowing how to be a mother. You'll get the hang of it. I smiled gently and patted her shoulder for extra effect. Her expression didn't soften in the slightest. If anything, I saw a flicker of annoyance. She hadn't gotten the reaction she wanted. After a long silence, she finally spoke. Rain, I've been thinking. Maybe you could help out with Michael for a while? You're a college grad and so capable. You'd be so much better than me. My brother frowned, visibly uneasy. That doesn't sound right, he said slowly. She's your sister-in-law, not a nanny. People would talk. We can't have her raising our kid. He may have indulged Chloe before, but deep down, he still cared about appearances and his own pride. Chloe pouted harder. But Rain's so good with him. And I'm so clumsy. I keep hurting our baby. I watched my brother hesitate. And that was my cue. I get it, Chloe, I said, keeping my voice even. But my work's crazy right now. I honestly don't think I'd do a better job. What if I make things worse? Chloe was clearly hoping I'd fall for the same trap again. Raising Michael for free while she got to live her life stress-free. Then she could swoop in when he was successful and take all the credit. Yeah, no thanks. Her face twisted in disappointment. Just as she was about to argue, Mom cut in. That's enough, she snapped, startling all of us. Your son's in the ER, and you two are playing hot potato with him like he's a burden. What kind of parents are you? I'd never heard Mom raise her voice like that before. She was usually soft-spoken. She truly loved Michael. But I couldn't forget what happened in our last life, how he stood by and let her die of starvation, just to please Chloe. That thought hardened my heart. This time, I'd make sure Mom lived a full, happy life, and the people who wronged us would get exactly what they deserved. When Michael was finally moved out of the ICU, Mom volunteered to stay and care for him. She didn't trust Chloe one bit, and honestly, neither did I. Eventually, when Michael was stable enough to go home, Chloe came at me again. Rain, are you really that busy with work? I'm just so bad at this. I really don't know what I'm doing. I almost laughed in her face. 3 accidents in 2 months, and now she was begging me to take over. She'd spent more energy scheming to dump the kid on me than she ever had actually taking care of him. I really wish I could help, I said with a heavy sigh. But I just made full time. I've got deadlines, meetings, reports. Once I get through this busy period, I'll come by and help out. Lies, of course. Even if I had time, I wouldn't lift a finger. She forced a smile. You're the best, Rain. I'll be waiting. I didn't respond. Just grabbed Mom and made for the exit. Behind us, I could feel Chloe's glare burning into my back. She wasn't going to let this go. As we left, I turned back and gave her one last reminder. Oh, by the way, Chloe, don't give Michael any salt. Babies really can't handle it. It's dangerous, especially for their kidneys. Her eyes lit up for a split second, like she'd just gotten a new idea. Then, realizing she'd given herself away, she quickly looked down and muttered, Of course. I'll be careful. Once we got home, I even texted her a baby care article about salt intake for infants, just to hammer the point home. I wasn't about to take care of Michael again, but I knew Chloe would still find a way to screw things up and then try to make me fix it. Might as well give her the tools to dig her own grave. Chloe replied right away with a sunny got it. Thanks, Rain. That traitor of a nephew. I raised him like my own. Mom spoiled him rotten. And for what? One lie from Chloe and he turned on us like we were strangers. This time, I wanted to watch as his perfect mother destroyed him, one spoonful at a time. Just a few weeks later, my brother called me again. Michael was running another high fever. This time, it was serious. The doctor said it was a respiratory infection, and worse, they found early signs of high blood pressure. I went to the hospital, more curious than concerned. I didn't tell Mom. She still saw Michael as an innocent baby. No need to break her heart. As I approached the hospital room, I heard my brother yelling. The doctor said it was from too much salt. His saliva dried up, his throat got infected, and the germs got into his lungs. Now he has high blood pressure. What the hell were you thinking, feeding salt to a baby? He's barely 4 months old and this is his 5th ER trip. You think I'm made of money? Chloe started her usual waterworks. I didn't mean to. I was worried his egg porridge would taste bland. I didn't know babies couldn't have salt. I'm just too dumb, I swear. Usually my brother would cave at this point. But not today. Maybe it was the money. Maybe it was fear for Michael's health. Whatever the reason, he didn't comfort her. He snapped. You're the dumbest woman I've ever met. Useless. If my son ends up with permanent damage, I'll never forgive you. Then the doctor walked in, clipboard in hand. The fever's down, but it might spike again tonight. Keep him warm. Also, the hypertension might be a symptom of something more serious. We'll need to run full body tests. The room went silent. I almost burst out laughing. Finally, karma was catching up. I pushed the door open and stepped inside, putting on my most concerned expression. Oh my God, Chloe. Michael has a fever again? And high blood pressure? Wait, did you give him salt? Her eyes widened in panic. I didn't give him salt directly. I just added some to his porridge. Before she could finish, my brother slapped her across the face. Hard. She froze. She had expected him to defend her like always. Instead, he glared at her. You said you didn't know salt was bad for babies. Are you playing dumb? You trying to kill him? Chloe panicked. No, I wasn't trying to kill him. I just wanted him to get sick enough so your sister would feel sorry and agree to help raise him. She'd blurted it out, her whole plan. Just like that, I feigned a devastated expression, clutching my chest. Chloe, how could you? I've always cared for Michael like he was my own. And this whole time, you were using me? I even squeezed out a few fake tears and ran from the room. As I left, I heard my brother shout after her. You made my sister leave. I was going to use her health insurance to cover the bills. Not surprising. That entire family was made of grifters. I pulled out my phone and stopped the audio recording I'd been running since I entered the hospital. They wanted to trap me again? Not this time. After we got home from the hospital, I sat Mom down and told her everything that happened in my last life. How Chloe manipulated me into raising Michael for 18 years, only to be betrayed and burned alive, and how Michael helped cover it up. Mom listened in stunned silence. When I described how Chloe gaslit me, and how Michael turned into a cold-blooded monster, her eyes filled with tears. I always knew Chloe didn't like me, she whispered. But your brother, he always stood by her. I just didn't know it was this bad. She pulled me into a tight hug. Don't worry, baby. This time I'll protect you. But later that night, Chloe called Mom and twisted the knife again. Mom, Michael's test results are in. The doctor said his heart function is damaged. Please come see him. I could hear the fake sobs through the phone. In the background, my brother was yelling at hospital staff. What do you mean a 4-month-old has heart problems? You quacks just want more money. Chloe chimed in with her usual brand of stupid. It was just a little salt. I checked online. They said it might cause a fever, not heart damage. Then the doctor calmly explained, infant's organs are still developing. High salt intake can damage the heart, and if you had waited any longer to bring him in, his kidneys might have failed too. Mom's hands shook as she stared at the phone screen. I could tell she was torn. Michael was still just a baby to her. I gently smiled. If you're worried, Mom, go see him. I'll come with you. Because I didn't trust Chloe not to pull something while Mom was around. Sure enough, as soon as we stepped into the hospital room, Chloe lunged toward Mom like a drowning woman grabbing a lifeboat. Mom, your grandson's life is on the line. You have to help us. My brother, seeing me behind her, immediately nudged Chloe and gave her a look. She turned and locked eyes with me, her expression sharp. Rain, you're Michael's aunt. The medical bills are overwhelming. Can't you help? I gave her a blank stare. Michael wasn't my son. Why should I pay? I wish I could, I said softly. But all my savings are tied up in mutual funds. I only have a few $100 on me. Chloe's face turned black with rage. But then something in her eyes shifted. An idea. The surgery costs around $15,000, she said slowly. Didn't you buy a small condo a while ago? That place must be worth at least $30,000 by now. You could sell it and cover the bills? I almost laughed. You want me to sell the home I bought with money from writing during college? To save your kid? The same kid you've been using to trap me into free labor? I turned to my brother. Didn't Dad buy you your house? Why not sell that? My brother's face darkened. Where would we live then? Before he could raise his hand to strike me, Mom stepped between us and kicked him. Hard. He fell to the ground with a thud. He looked up, dazed, as Mom stood tall and furious. You couldn't take care of your own child. And now you want your sister to pay the price? You chose to have him, now take responsibility. I'd never seen Mom so fierce. She was still healthy and strong, and in that moment, she was a force of nature. Chloe helped my brother up and screamed at me, "It's all your fault. If you hadn't told me babies can't eat salt, I wouldn't have tried it. You ruined everything. You have to take responsibility." She lunged at me, claws out, aiming for my face. I dodged quickly. She missed and fell hard, smashing her front teeth on the tiled floor. She clutched her mouth, wailing in pain. Blood dripped from her gums. My brother rushed over to her, panicking. While the room descended into chaos, I grabbed Mom and slipped out. We weren't sticking around to get blamed for Chloe's broken teeth. As soon as we got home, Mom hugged me tight and whispered, "This time, I won't let anyone hurt you again." Her words made my eyes sting with tears. The next morning, Chloe called again. "Rain, you better get me $15,000 right now. If my son dies, I'll ruin your life." She was bold, threatening me like she had any moral high ground. I didn't say a word, just hung up and blocked her number. But then something caught my eye on a popular legal forum. A post titled, "How can I force my sister-in-law to pay $15,000 for my son's surgery?" I clicked it open. The poster blamed her evil sister-in-law for tricking her into feeding salt to her 5-month-old baby, resulting in heart damage and a looming surgery bill. It was Chloe. No doubt. Comments piled up. "Sounds like you're just trying to guilt-trip your sister-in-law. No way a little salt causes heart damage. What did you feed him? A spoonful of MSG? She's not married? Force her to marry someone. Use the dowry to pay for the surgery. If she works a good job, threaten her reputation. Expose her online. I bet she'll cough up the money then." One reply chilled me. "If she's not willing to pay now, make her feel so guilty she agrees to raise the kid forever." Chloe had replied, "Exactly, that's my plan. I'm going to post about her. Public shaming works best." I backed out of the post and clicked on her profile. There, clear as day, was another post titled, "Fake it till you trap her." In it, Chloe bragged about her method, pretending to be a clueless mom, making the baby mildly sick on purpose, building sympathy from her sister-in-law, and slowly pushing the kid onto her lap. "I'm too young to be a full-time mom," she wrote. "I still want to enjoy life. Let her spend the money and do the work. I'll swoop in later and take all the credit. No risk, no pain." Even though I already knew Chloe was scum, reading her actual words made my blood boil. In our past life, I gave up everything for Michael, money, energy, even love, only to be framed and killed. She never once took him back. Even when I tried to return him after he started school, she said she wasn't ready. I worked myself to the bone, thinking I was giving a child a better life. She just wanted me to raise her son for free. But this time, I was going to show the world what kind of mother she really was. Not wanting Mom to get caught up in Chloe's drama, I secretly booked her a month-long vacation tour and sent her off the next morning. Just as I expected, the very next day, I became the target of an online witch hunt. In a now viral video, Chloe sat in the hospital with a frail-looking Michael in her arms, sobbing uncontrollably. My brother stood behind her, frowning with concern. After some dramatic silence, Chloe finally looked into the camera, lips trembling. "I have to expose my evil sister-in-law, Rainwalker. My son's heart is failing, and it's all her fault. She told me salt was good for babies," Chloe cried. "I trusted her, so I put some in Michael's food, and that very night, he got a high fever. Now his heart is damaged. We begged her to help pay for the surgery, but she blocked us. She's a cold-blooded monster." I couldn't help but laugh. Chloe really could have been an Oscar winner. To make things worse, she posted my home and work addresses in the comments, encouraging viewers to harass me. Within hours, the video exploded online. The comments were a cesspool of hate. How can someone be so heartless? If that baby dies, it's on her hands. Let's send her death threats. Some people even threatened to mail me razor blades and dead rats. Before I'd even had a chance to respond, Chloe called me. Smug as hell. "How's it feel to be internet roadkill?" She sneered. "If you don't want to drown in spit and hate, you better wire me the money right now. And while you're at it," she added sweetly, "you'll be covering Michael's school tuition and living expenses too." This woman had no shame. I cut her off with a calm, "Oh? I'm happy to play this game," and hung up. Now that the video had peaked in popularity, it was time to drag her from her high horse. I uploaded the audio recordings of Chloe admitting she fed Michael salt on purpose to make me feel sorry enough to take over. I also posted screenshots of my messages warning her not to give salt to babies, messages she'd seen and acknowledged. And then, the real kicker, Chloe's posts on the parenting forum, where she laid out her entire manipulation plan in her own words. The evidence was irrefutable. Suddenly, the tide turned. The same people who'd wanted me burned at the stake now flooded Chloe's comment section with outrage. "You psycho. You used your baby for sympathy points? She told you not to give salt. You're insane. Where's Child Protective Services when you need them? Someone even traced Chloe's parenting forum account back to her IP address and uncovered her real name and address. They posted everything. Now both Chloe and my brother were under siege. To make matters worse, the backlash got so bad my brother was forced to resign from his job. His company didn't want the negative press. That night, he was so angry he went home and beat Chloe for the first time ever. The woman he once treated like a porcelain doll was now the punching bag for his destroyed life. And Chloe? She didn't dare fight back. She just cried and begged, "Sell the house, please. The doctor said I might never have another baby. Michael's all we've got." My brother lost it. "Exactly. He's our only son, and you nearly killed him with salt." Chloe tried to defend herself. "I thought if he got sick, Rain would take pity and take him in." "Wrong move." He exploded. "Now she's gone. We're 15 grand in the hole and I've lost my damn job." They stopped contacting me after that. The next I heard of them was a month later. Chloe couldn't step outside without being recognized and shamed. Her reputation was in ruins. Even her own family cut ties with her. No one wanted to be associated with a child abuser. Desperate, she went back to her in-laws to beg for money, but they slammed the door in her face. My brother, meanwhile, had made up his mind. He wanted a divorce. Even though Michael had surgery, the damage to his heart was permanent. He'd need lifelong treatment, and the costs would be endless. My brother figured he could always find another woman to have a kid with. Chloe wasn't worth the hassle anymore. But Chloe refused to let go. Then, a few days later, I was jolted awake by someone banging on my door. "Rainwalker. You bitch. Come out here." It was Chloe. I peeked through the peephole and nearly screamed. Her hair was a tangled mess. Her eyes were wide, bloodshot, and wild. Dried blood streaked her face. She looked completely unhinged. As I debated whether to speak up, she started slamming her whole body against my door like a madwoman. I pulled out my phone to call the cops. Then I heard metal clanging against steel. I looked again. Chloe was holding a bloody kitchen knife, hacking at my front door. I quickly sent the emergency text. Just as she raised the knife again, a team of officers appeared behind her and tackled her to the ground. She shrieked and spat at my door. "In our last life, you raised my son all the way to college. Why won't you pay 15 grand this time? You're a lying, selfish bitch. This is all your fault." I opened the door and looked her dead in the eye. "Your son? Didn't you kill him yourself? You fed him salt for sympathy. You never cared about his health. This is your karma, Chloe, not mine." She froze, then shook her head violently. No, it's your fault. You told me not to feed him salt. You didn't give me the money. You let him die. You. The cops rolled their eyes and dragged her away. Later at the station, I gave my statement. That's when I found out what really happened. Michael had died. And my brother? He was dead too. Apparently, my brother finally filed for divorce. Chloe refused, unless he gave her $10,000. He agreed. But after the papers were signed, he never paid. Meanwhile, Michael's condition had worsened. The surgery was too late. At that point, no amount of money could save him. Faced with no money, no family support, and a dying son, Chloe snapped. She smothered Michael in his hospital bed. Then she grabbed a fruit knife from the nurse's station, went to my brother's apartment, and stabbed him to death. After that, she headed straight to my place, probably planning to kill me and Mom too. She had no idea the police had already discovered my brother's body and tracked her phone. Thanks to surveillance footage and my call, they caught her just in time. Chloe was sentenced to 10 years for murder. But within weeks of entering prison, she completely lost her mind. They transferred her to a psychiatric facility. Everyone who hurt me in my past life had finally received their punishment. And now? It was my turn to live. With Chloe and my brother gone, the ghosts of my past life finally felt laid to rest. I was free. I threw myself into work with a clarity and drive I hadn't felt in years. I wasn't just surviving, I was building. Thanks to the experience and foresight carried over from my previous life, I excelled quickly. I predicted market trends before they happened, avoided pitfalls, and seized opportunities that others overlooked. Promotions, raises, leadership roles, they came one after another. In just a few years, I had saved enough to invest in several promising startups. With careful planning, they all took off. I achieved financial freedom faster than I ever imagined. Then, during a vacation I planned for Mom and me, something I'd always dreamed of doing but never had the chance in my last life, I met someone. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't some arrogant billionaire from a romance novel. He was genuine, warm, thoughtful, and strong. For the first time in what felt like forever, I let myself trust someone. A year later, we had our wedding ceremony. Just a small one, by the sea, with close friends, sunshine, and laughter. And most importantly, Mom was there to walk me down the aisle. A few months later, we welcomed our daughter into the world. When I first held her in my arms, I felt something shift. All the scars from my past, the rage, the betrayal, the pain, they didn't disappear, but they stopped hurting. Because now, I had something real, something mine. I promised myself I'd be the kind of mother who loved with strength, not control, with patience, not pretense. I would never use my child to manipulate others or make them pay for my choices. She'd grow up knowing she was enough, just as she was. Sometimes when I look into her eyes, I think of Michael. And I'm not angry anymore, because he was never the villain. He was the tragedy. A child molded by a selfish mother, used as bait, poisoned with lies. He never stood a chance. But my daughter will. She'll have every chance. Because, this time around, I choose me. I choose my life. And no one, not Chloe, not my brother, not anyone, will take that away again.